I paid $300 in 1 month just to be miserable in my own home. Then I pulled a wet bedsheet out of my closet, dropped the temperature 15 degrees, and spent less than a fast food meal. The HVAC companies, trust me, they are not going to like this. My name is Jeremiah Byler, and I've spent 42 summers beating the heat without a single air conditioning unit in my home. I build barns, I repair buggy wheels, and I watch the English pour thousands of dollars into metal boxes that hum and whine and suck electricity like a thirsty mule, all while their houses still feel like a greenhouse by 4 in the afternoon. Now, I'm not a researcher. I don't read scientific papers. I'm a practitioner, a man who has kept his family cool through 100 heat waves with nothing but a little cotton, a bucket of water, and a piece of knowledge that used to be as common as a handshake. The modern HVAC industry doesn't want you to know this, folks. They make too much money off your discomfort. Here's the part that should make you uneasy. The average American household spends around $300 a month on electricity during the summer months, and about half of that, roughly $150, goes straight to air conditioning. That's nearly $2,000 a year just to feel a little less miserable inside your own walls. And what do they sell you? Sealed boxes with chemical refrigerants that leak, compressors that burn out, and filters that need replacing every 30 days. They built an entire industry around the idea that you cannot survive summer without their machine. But here's what they don't tell you. Before 1950, before central air was slapped onto every suburban home like a badge of status, people lived through 100-degree days in the South, the Midwest, the Plains, and they didn't die of heat stroke. They used a principle so simple that the English have forgotten it entirely. It's called evaporative cooling, and you can do it for less than the price of a hamburger combo. Let me teach you what actually makes your house hot. It's not just the outdoor temperature, it's the solar gain. That sun beats down on your roof and your south facing windows, and that heat gets trapped inside because modern houses are built like sealed plastic bags. They have insulation, sure, but they have no way to move air, no cross ventilation, no thermal mass to absorb the cool of the night. You come home at 6 in the evening and the house is still radiating heat from noon, and you flip that AC switch because you don't know any other way. The root cause is twofold. First, you're letting the sun in during the hottest part of the day, and your windows act like a magnifying glass. Second, you're not using the natural cool of the night air to flush that heat out. The old way, the Amish way, is to work with the sun, not against it. And the specific hack I'm about to show you, it costs exactly $5.37 at the hardware store. I checked this morning. Here's what you need. Write this down or just listen and remember. Step 1. Find a plain cotton bed sheet, a flat sheet, not fitted. The cheaper the better. Old and worn is actually perfect because the fibers are already soft and wicking. Cost 0 if you have one in the closet. If not, thrift store, $2. Step 2. Get a 5-gallon bucket or a large wash basin. Any plastic tub will do. Cost $1.50 at the hardware store. Step 3. Get a box fan. Now, I know I said no AC, and I'm not breaking my promise. A fan is not AC. A fan moves air. That's all. You probably already own one. If not, a cheap one is $10. But we're not counting that because you already have it. For the hack itself, we only need the sheet and the bucket. But I'll include the fan cost as $3 if you find one at a yard sale. So we're at $3.50. Step 4. Get a piece of rope or twine about 6 feet long. Cost $1. Step 5. Water from your tap. Free. Add it up. Sheet 2 bucket $1.50. Rope $1. Water free. That's $4.50. I'll round up to $5 because you might buy a cheap wooden dowel or a stick from your yard, but honestly, you can skip that. So let's say $5. Now, here's the method. Step 1. Fill that bucket with cold tap water, not warm, not hot, cold. Set it on the floor in front of a window that catches the prevailing breeze. In most homes, that's the east window in the morning and the west window in the late afternoon. But for this hack, you want it on the side of the house where the wind blows in. That's crucial. Step 2. Take your cotton sheet and submerge it completely in that bucket of water. Let it soak until it's heavy and dripping. Wring it out just enough so it isn't a waterfall, but leave it wet, really wet. Step 3. Tie your rope to two corners of the sheet or drape it over a wooden dowel and hang that sheet directly in front of the open window. But here's the trick, folks. You don't hang it flat. You hang it so the bottom of the sheet sits in the bucket of water. The wet fabric dips into the water, and capillary action, that's a fancy word for how water climbs up fibers, keeps the whole sheet wet as the top dries. That's the entire secret. That wicking action means you don't have to keep re-wetting it. It feeds itself. Step 4. Place your box fan behind the sheet, on the inside of the room, facing the sheet. You're going to blow air through the wet fabric and into the room, not the other way around. The fan draws the room air, pushes it through the cold, wet sheet, and that air comes out the other side anywhere from 10 to 15 degrees cooler. That's evaporative cooling. When the water evaporates from the cotton, it pulls heat out of the air. It's the same principle that makes you shiver when you step out of a lake on a windy day. Now, placement matters. You want that window open wide, but only on the side where the breeze is coming from. And you want an exit window, another window on the opposite side of the house, cracked open just a few inches so the hot air has somewhere to go. That cool, damp, living earth smell that hits your face of cool air through your whole home. I've measured this. I put a thermometer 6 feet from that bucket setup and watched the mercury drop from 89 degrees to 74 in about 45 minutes. That's a 15-degree drop, folks, with no condenser, no refrigerant, no $600 repair bill when the compressor fails. Now, if you want to double down on this, here's a secondary trick my grandmother used. She'd take those same wet sheets and drape them over the outside of the window screens at night, not inside, but outside. Then she'd leave the windows wide open all night long. The nighttime air, even at 70 degrees, would pass through that wet cotton and cool down another 8 or 9 degrees. By sunrise, the whole house was chilled to 65 degrees. Then she'd close every window, draw every curtain, and that cool air would stay trapped inside until well past noon. The walls, the furniture, the floorboards, they all hold that temperature. That's thermal mass working for you, not against you. You can also take plain old water jugs, gallon milk jugs filled with tap water, and freeze them overnight. Place two of those frozen jugs in front of that same fan, and the air blowing over the ice picks up that cold and sends it through the room. That costs nothing but freezer space, and it adds another 5 degrees of relief. But let's talk about the stakes here, because this isn't just about comfort, this is about control. The average central air unit costs $5,500 to install, and that's for a basic model. Then you pay $150 a month in electricity just to run it. Over 10 years, you spent nearly $18,000, and that doesn't include the 2 or 3 repair calls at $400 a pop when the capacitor blows or the refrigerant leaks. And what do you get? Dry, recirculated air filled with dust, mold spores, and chemical residue from the ductwork that nobody cleans. My method? $5. A one-time purchase. The bucket lasts years. The sheet lasts a whole summer if you wash it. The only ongoing cost is water from the tap, maybe a penny a day. And the air you breathe? It's humid, yes, but it's fresh. It's pulled straight from the outdoors, filtered through clean cotton, without any chemical refrigerants or synthetic lubricants. Your skin won't dry out. Your eyes won't sting, and you won't give another dime to the HVAC industry that has convinced you that you cannot survive without their machine. Here's what makes me uneasy. I've watched my English neighbors run their AC units day and night while their windows are closed tight, their houses sealed up like tombs, breathing the same stale air over and over. They complain about their electric bill, but they never think to open a window. They've been trained, conditioned to believe that the only solution comes from a contractor in a white van. And that contractor, trust me on this, does not want you to know that a wet bed sheet can outperform his $3,000 system on a dry summer afternoon. So here's what I want you to do. This weekend, not next month, not when you get around to it, this weekend, I want you to try this. It's so simple that you'll feel foolish for not doing it sooner. Here's your numbered checklist. Number 1, go find an old cotton sheet. Not microfiber, not polyester. Cotton. It has to be cotton because synthetic fibers don't wick water the same way. If you don't have one, go to the thrift store on Saturday morning and buy the cheapest flat sheet they have. Spend less than $3. Number 2, find a bucket or a plastic tub that's at least 12 inches deep. A mop bucket works. A storage tote works. Anything that holds water and fits under your window. Number 3, test the wind direction in your house. Wet your finger and hold it up to each window on a breezy day. Figure out which side the wind is hitting. That's your intake window. The opposite side is your exhaust. Number 4, hang that wet sheet in front of the intake window, with the bottom of the sheet soaking in the bucket of water. Use a rope, a dowel, even a broomstick propped across the window frame. Just get it hanging there, wet with the tail in the water. Number 5, put your box fan behind it on the inside, blowing air out through the sheet into the room. Don't put the fan in the window. Put it on the floor or a low table aiming at the sheet. Let it run. Number 6, open your exhaust window on the opposite side of the house. Just a crack, maybe 3 inches. Close all your curtains or blinds on the sunny side of the house to stop solar gain. Then walk away. Go make some lemonade. Come back in an hour and feel the difference. That's it. 6 steps, $5, 1 weekend. You will have dropped the temperature in your living space by at least 12 to 15 degrees, and you'll have done it without burning a single watt of AC power. Now, this is just the beginning. There's another trick I use when the humidity gets so high that evaporative cooling stops working. That's when the air is already full of moisture and the wet sheet can't evaporate. I use a completely different method involving the earth itself, the ground temperature 6 feet below your basement floor. That's a story for another time, and if you're interested, you let me know in the comments. But for now, I want you to try this. I want you to prove to yourself that the old ways still work. And I want you to remember the English have been sold a story that says you need their machines, their chemicals, their monthly bills. But you don't. You never did. I'm Jeremiah Byler, and I'll see you next time.